Today my buddy Texan and I are going to show you how to run an installation for the LED lights using one of these diode setups to where you can actually switch and have control over the LEDs based on your mode on the stalk, on the steering wheel stalk. And we're going to walk you through the installation. It's rather easy, so let me show you how that's done. Right now we have it set to auto. Go ahead and flip on the headlights. And you can see that as you have the headlights on, you still have the LEDs activated. Now the beauty of this is once we turn them off to a complete off position, the LEDs will turn off. Go ahead and shut it off. And now you have complete full control over your LEDs in a complete stock format. And we're going to show you how it's done. So the first step in getting started is we go over to the passenger side headlight and we want to take the headlight out. Now in most cases you may feel more comfortable taking off the plastic bumper so that you could get easier access, but we like to do things a little bit harder and try to take a shortcut by taking the headlight out directly. Now I think I may have mentioned in another video, I don't remember, but the architecture of his headlight is a little bit challenging to take off, so you want to be very careful with your actual bumper trim. Pay special attention to this corner here and along the bottom here to where you put some sort of a towel or some sort of protection as you're trying to finagle this out. Now you'll notice that on this side, because of the actual shape, it's going to be a little bit challenging to pull off. But as far as the hardware goes, it only takes these two screws, these two bolts up here to disconnect, and just pulling straight out because the rest is held by tabs. Now I'm going to help my buddy get this headlight out, but we'll show you as we go along. Another thing we forgot to mention to you is to go ahead and take off the snorkel here sitting in the front in order to lift up this section of the plastic to gain access to this corner right here. Take these 4 plastic screws out. They're pull tab screws, so once you unscrew them, you just simply pull straight up on them and the entire tab will come out. It's just better footage of the actual 12 volt diode that we're going to be using. I didn't get a clear shot of it earlier. Okay, one tip here as far as getting this corner out is you're going to lift on the plastic, the underlying plastic, and then we pull the headlight backward and you'll see that it'll pop. So that's one trick to be careful with. Pull on the bottom and you'll feel another slot slide out, and then you just work your way back and forth until it cleanly comes off. And be sure to take your time with this step, because you definitely don't want to cause any damage along the way. There's going to be a tab underneath. One of the most problematic ones is located sort of in the middle, and it helps to get a screwdriver long enough in there to get in and pry it out.
That's where it's catching.
Mm-hmm. Okay, once you get it cleared, the problem tabs are these right here, as you can see. They get caught onto the bumper cover. I think there's a... No, actually, no, it's just this one right here. Maybe this one as well. But once you get that, it just completely pulls straight up. And then disconnect your plugs. So once you have the headlight out, now we removed some of the white tape just because that was a proof of concept. We're going to finalize this as we're showing you how to do this. The blue wire, as you can see, is your parking light, which is going to be that amber light that comes on when you have the first notch on the stock set. So what you're going to do is you're going to tap into it and go ahead and get a strip of cable and crimp a tip to it to where you connect it into your tap that you just created. And you don't need any more than, I mean, I'd say since we're going to mount the diode here in the back, probably about a foot or two should be plenty, just to have some wiggle room. All we're doing here is just wrapping up as much as we can of the exposed cable so that we can get it as factory clean as possible. Okay, what we'll want to do now that you have the wire sitting there and waiting for connection is we're going to pop open the LED access panel, rather the fog light access panel located on the the passenger side wheel well, and you want to cut your wheel all the way to the left so you can gain access. And just unscrew this top tab and just get this flap open. Okay. So after you get some elbow grease and get this panel off, you'll see that you'll have the fog light housing backside exposed, and so now we'll go ahead and disconnect the sole connector for this housing. Again, this is a lot easier with the headlight, with the bumper cover off, but since we're doing it the shortcut way, once you have the tab taken out, or the connector taken out, and to do that you just push onto the tab on the very top as you pull down, so you'll more than likely use your left hand to get this part done. Have it disconnected, and then you're going to locate the, let's see, which wire was it, which color? Again, we have a proof of concept tape here, just in our testing phase. Red. Okay, so locate your red wire. Let's see if I can get a good, yes. So locate your red wire, as that's going to be your power to the LEDs. Now the beauty of this is we only have to do this on one side and it will power both LEDs. So same as we did with the parking light, you want to go ahead and put in your tap into the wire and make the other end of the cable, or actually make a new cable with the similar end and connect it into your T-tap. Once you have it tapped in and connected, it's going to look something like this. Now for this cable, I would say make it about twice as long as the first cable, so say about 3 feet long, just to have ample space, and route it up into the hole and into the area where we need it to come through for where the diode is going to be connected. Just a quick footage of what the cable will look like once you have it all nice and covered up with tape and sealed. And I wanted to show y'all where the cable is coming in from in the headlight housing. So if I lay this, can you hold the light real quick? You'll see that it's coming from the area that is right next to the coolant overflow tank, and you'll actually see it running down. Oh, that's the washer fluid. Okay, sorry, I misspoke. That was the washer fluid tank, and you'll see it running through, and you'll actually feel it under the, you know, behind the fog light housing. Can't get you a good shot of it, but I think you get the idea. Next step is just start to go ahead and plug your connector back into the fog light housing. So you'll notice on the diode itself that you have a marker for in and out. So the flow of the current comes from the in and only flows towards the out, and the whole purpose is that current does not go in the opposite direction. Now the way you want to connect this is you want to put the parking light cable on the inside and your LED light on the outside. No pun intended. Once you have that connected, go ahead and fasten it anywhere to your liking. This particular one has double-side tape on it, and so we're mounting it onto the actual metal shell of the wheel well, but you use your own judgment as to where you'd like to put it. And right after that, as a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and mention that go ahead and close up your fog light bulb panel. Step here is we'll go ahead and just lay the headlight housing in place. Don't install it fully just yet, but go ahead and do connect your two connectors to their respective locations and do an actual test. To properly test, simply set your mode to off on the stalk. Nothing should be on as far as the LED housing. Of course, it's best to have the engine running just so that the electrical system will be at the correct state. And as you cycle through your lights, you will see the LEDs come on accordingly, just like we demonstrated in the beginning. Go ahead and cycle it. Yep. And now you can see the LEDs. It's always good to test these things before you connect it all up, because we found a small disconnect in our wiring. But again, all our instructions are correct. It's just we need to just troubleshoot a little bit of a loose wire. We'll get right back to you. Once you've tested your electrical connectors and satisfied and made sure that everything's working properly, go ahead and reseat your headlight housing back into the vehicle. It slides right in, and just make sure you lift up on this corner here so that you can help that corner in, and make sure that the holes generally line up here and here to reattach the two bolts. And once you have the headlight mounted, go ahead and reattach your snorkel and any intake in case you have the stock intake and you remove the box for any reason. Although you shouldn't have needed to, but perhaps it may have been a little bit easier to get underneath it for running the cabling without the box in place. As you saw with an aftermarket intake, that wasn't really an issue. So once you get the snorkel back on, that pretty much should conclude the installation here of running a diode, to where once you set it to DRL off, it will actually maintain the LEDs off. And once you have any other position on the stalk enabled, your LEDs will stay on. And the whole purpose of having the diode is basically so you don't backfeed the power being supplied to the LEDs back into your parking lights, and in a sense keeping the parking lights on all the time. So if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments below, and I'll see about seeing if we can get you a link to the actual diode that was used. Thanks for watching.